So, welcome all. I'm really thankful for your enthusiastic participation. Welcome to today's webinar. Before we begin, if you would prefer the session to be in English, just let us know in the chat uh, so we can take that way. Else, we'll continue in English for now, but feel free to interrupt me anytime if language becomes a barrier for your understanding. Happy to pause and explain then and there. Okay, so just setting up the expectations. As we see, there's a diversity in the background of people who have joined and who were the participants, and while observing, we saw that people from different domains, roles, experiences uh, have participated, and respecting that, uh, you could expect from the webinar that we'll take you through an overview of how your NGOs, how the NGO sheets look like today upon our experiences, observations, what challenges emerge, or what gaps are there still in those sheets while we try to segregate, analyze them, and where Dalgo comes in, and how Dalgo would be a helpful solution in the same. So we won't be diving deep into how to build the perfect Google Sheet system. But don't worry, like we'll also share resources for those of you who are interested in the end of the webinar. Okay. So I would request if you could answer this particular question, where like how do you use your Google Sheets today? So you can use this Mentimeter QR code where you will be able to answer and share your responses. Meanwhile, also I'll request a few of you who can unmute themselves and share how you're using your Google Sheets today, any challenges you are facing. So it would be very helpful. Yeah, great. Any challenges, specific challenges you used to face, are facing?
Yeah, Vishakha has raised their hand. Vishakha, you can go ahead and unmute.
Please, yeah. Suti, currently I'm unable to see the chat for now. If you can help me in uh,
Sure.
observing the chat, and yeah.
Sure, sure.
Yes, thank you so much. Just wanted to share how I use Google Sheet today.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I am a coach at Clay Lab Education Foundation. So I usually track the students attendance and the assignments. So for that, I usually use Google Sheets.
Oh, great. Thanks, Vishaka. Anyone else would like to pitch in? Okay. Meanwhile, everyone is responding to this question. We can go ahead, and we could see like on our experiences with the NGOs we are working with, our discussions with the partners in the ecosystem. We could see how your sheets might look like. So you might be dealing with sheets where you are collecting data of multiple sorts from different programs, different KPIs, etc. And then you would be collating them for the purpose to put it either in the dashboard or put some analysis around it so that you have a better insights to be communicated with. We could see that the sheet looks clean, but there are certain challenges which we could figure out easily. So I've color coded them. So this is comprising of vertical merges where city, what total students have been merged. There we are seeing that the first row is not as a header row. So when we used to port them into dashboard, or when we take a chart out of this, then it becomes a challenge at times when the first row is not the header row. It prevents like from a proper filter. If we try to put a filter around this, it will prevent us. So these issues, horizontal merges, vertical merges, etc., are very common, and when also becomes a challenge when we are dealing with historical data. So at times we have put in good validation during the collection, and it would help us to get a segregated data. But at times when we are dealing with historical data, or even in the ongoing data, it becomes a challenge when we are viewing or formatting this particular type of sheet. So this becomes completely non-workable. Now, if we try to clean it to an extent, if we improve it, uh, we could still face certain challenges. Like we could see that while entering the data, if there are not proper validations, duplicacy can happen. If the null values are not handled, then it could lead to under reporting, or duplicacy of records will lead to over reporting. So actually the data would look like something of this sort when we are entering into data at multiple sources, like multiple people are involved into a single source of data entry point. Then this becomes a challenge where the names are written in different type cases. There is a duplication of records, the null values, the blank values are not handled properly. So it becomes difficult to track the edits, also when multiple responses uh, are being written by different team members. So also, you might be working with Google Form, where you would be using it to collect data on the field, where you have come to an understanding where these validations help you to keep a check on what responses are required, and you can use those responses to segregate and analyze data. But at times there are certain questions, suppose in these questions as gender over here, where we have ma made it as a type short answer, which becomes subjective and dependent on the interpretation of the responder. Also the location becomes dependent on the responder's interpretation, where he or she could enter state, district, or any other location he thinks fit to be responded with. So though these validations can be put up in place, but when the program scales across languages, across regions, across programs, then it is difficult to keep that standardization of the questions to keep a standard KPI, which needs to be tracked. So this Google form is comprising at the backend the sheets which we would be using for collecting that particular data. Though we have put in the validations in place, but wherever there is subjectivity, we are finding that there is inconsistency in the format. So these inconsistency will obviously lead to downstream issues when we are using these as our models to analyze the data. And it becomes very complex when we scale or either dealing with the historical data. Coming up to how your dashboards currently would look like is when you use these sheets, even if I'm using to an extent cleaned and organized data, it would look more like uh, if you are using a pivot table or a chart into the sheet itself, then if you have not put in good amount of restrictions and validations, and any change would lead to a distortion in the chart and would be difficult to track and audit. Suppose if I enter a column next to semester column, the chart changes and it's difficult to track and what all happened. And when there are number of uh, operations which needs to be performed, then obviously that becomes more complex. Supposing if we are merging, yeah, we are doing the horizontal merge, even then the data is getting changed but still not showing any error. So then it becomes challenging to track and work with. Either you can work with pivot table or put a chart into the Google Sheet, or also you can use Looker Studio for the same. So if I use Looker Studio on the same data set, I'm getting a chart similar of this sort, where now this is a data set which is comprising of the facilitators who are conducting the competencies in different cities. So if I want to see ki which city has performed on an average better than the other, then I am able to put a chart around it in Looker Studio and get some metrics in the same way. But as we scale, as we increase the number of records and the data entries increases, even Looker Studio on Sheets can face slowdowns. And there are instances where there are silently formula failures. So, and difficult to track as well. And this becomes a source of distrust where there is a data, but the trust is not on the consolidation, analyzation, and visualization of the data. So the pipeline gets broken at any point of time. Even if you work with the app script, which I have done with in the sheet as well, to join and merge, the column shifts, the regular tracking of that particular app script changes is difficult to do. Let us now meet Mohan. Mohan is a program coordinator. So we have taken a user persona, which is more the persona which is dealing with the data day to day in their operations in the organizations, who is dealing with multiple sheets coming from various sources, being accessed by different team members. The formats are inconsistent, the date format, the currency, the other formats are different, and then there is a manual update has to happen to get an insight out of it. So the challenges he is facing currently is most of you might be aware of, but a few which are more important to note and not easily tracked are like the access and the edit control gaps. So data gets edited at source, affects, so it will obviously affect all the charts and the dashboards. So, but logs and audit trails are scattered and they are not versioned. So also, if you try to perform transformations on that fragmented data, uh, you will need heavy reliance on app scripts or cross sheet formulas, which is also then becomes fragile and very hard to face, and obviously the tracking becomes much more difficult. Though you can put some robust process around it by better data validation while you are collecting the data, while the data entry is being happening. You can put a documentation around the same with a good SOP. You can upskill team members, etc. But still, we all know that scaling is inevitable and you all need something more resilient. So either you scale in terms of having more records or more number of users of the particular data set, the scaling is inevitable.
Priya,
Okay. Yeah.
sorry, before you move ahead, could you keep switching between English and Hindi? We're getting some messages from the chat.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Suti. So anything specific you want from the previous slide? Anyone would want me to reiterate in Hindi, or should I continue with?
It would be good to summarize the earlier slide once before we move ahead. The challenges.
Okay. So basically, अभी तक हमने ये देखा है कि कैसे जब हम लोग शीट्स को यूज करते हैं अपने रोज के कामों में, तो हमें उसमें अपने कोर वर्क के अलावा जितना टाइम उसमें देना पड़ता है, उसमें हम ये नहीं देख पाते हैं कि कहाँ से शीट में एंट्री हो रही है, कौन कौन उस शीट को एक्सेस कर रहा है, कब कब हम उसमें डेटा एंट्री कर रहे हैं, और वो सारा डेटा हमारा एक्यूमुलेट होता चला जाता है। और जब हमें एनालिसिस या सेग्रीगेशन करना होता है ताकि हम उसमें से कोई एक ऐसा इंसाइट निकाल पाएँ जिसको हम अपनी रिपोर्ट में यूज़ करें या फिर हम अपनी लीडरशिप को शेयर करें, तब वो चैलेंज बन जाता है। एंड हम लोग इस जगह पे पहुंच गए हैं जहां पे हमको शीट्स और गूगल फॉर्म्स अच्छे से यूज़ करना आ गया है, टू एन एक्सटेंट जहां पे हम लोग अच्छे से उसमें वैलिडेशन लगा सकते हैं, हम लोग वहाँ पे रोक सकते हैं कि कब कौन से रेस्पॉन्सेज लेने चाहिए। अगर जेंडर है तो मेल फीमेल के अलावा कोई और ऑप्शन नहीं आना चाहिए। मिसिंग वैल्यूज, नल वैल्यूज कैसे हैंडल हो। बट उसके बाद भी अगर हम गूगल फॉर्म और शीट्स यूज करते हैं तो जैसे जैसे डेटा इंक्रीज होता चला जाता है तब वो चीजें एनालाइज करना कॉम्प्लेक्स होता है, क्योंकि एक तो हमको स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन थ्रू आउट मेंटेन करना पड़ता है। हमारी डिपेंडेंसी उस शीट यूजर पे, या फिर हमारा अगर हम ऐप स्क्रिप्ट यूज कर रहे हैं तो डेवलपर्स पे या फिर डेटा इंजीनियर्स पे बढ़ती जाती, जो कि एनजीओ के लिए अफोर्ड करना, इन हाउस रखना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाता है। तो उस केसेस में हमें कुछ ऐसा चाहिए होता है जो जब हम स्केल करें, चाहे उस हमारे डेटा कलेक्शन सोर्सेस को कोई भी चला रहा हो या फिर उसमें कितना भी डेटा आ रहा हो, फिर भी वो ब्रेक ना करे। तो उसके लिए हम लोग को एक सोल्यूशन अपनाना पड़ेगा। तो वो सोल्यूशन हमारा डेटा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की एक स्ट्रैटेजी हो सकती है, जिसमें हम कोई टूल यूज कर सकते हैं, हम कोई ईएलटी प्रोसेस यूज कर सकते हैं, जिसपे हम लोग अभी थोड़ी देर में बात करेंगे। तो इससे पहले मैंने जो दिखाया वो शीट्स के अंदर अलग अलग प्रॉब्लम्स को दिखाया, जिसकी वजह से शीट ब्रेक हो सकती है और जब हम उस पर एनालिसिस करते हैं तो हमें सही रिजल्ट नहीं मिलता है। नाउ लेट्स वी डाइव इनटू meeting Mohan. We have met Mohan. We have seen what challenges he is facing, and I would now like you all to reflect for another 10 seconds and let me know, are you using any other tool than Google Sheets for data collection, or are planning to use any other tools for data collection? So I'll just share the Mentimeter as well for you to answer the query. Yeah, you can scan this if you have not, or if you are already on the browser where Mentimeter is open, then I'll just put to another question. Yeah, so I think this is visible, Stuti, to everyone.
Yes, this is visible.
Yeah.
Mentimeter.
Oh wow. So yes is for like other than uh, Google Sheets as well, you are using other tools to collect the data. I would request if, and sorry for not making this textual, otherwise I would have requested you to answer here, but if in the chat you can share what those tools are. Are there any custom apps built for your organization specifically, or Survey CTO, Kobo Toolbox, etc.?
So we have Akanksha from Gram Vikas sharing about M-Water. Alfia says that they use Kobo Toolbox. Yashwant
Oh wow.
uses Survey CTO. Then we are hearing, we are looking at Comcare, M-Form, Kobo Toolbox, Survey CTO. Lots of Survey CTOs over here.
Great. So this M Water is based on M form.
Akanksha, would you like to unmute and share?
Yeah, so basically we collect a lot of data regards to water. So
Okay.
we use M water to collect the data. It's with the survey form only.
Oh, wow.
We can make survey and also a dashboard also for those correct surveys and
Acha, it's from the
visualizations
app
like
only. Okay.
yeah.
That's great. So I think it's good, and I'm glad that people are using other tools as well to collect the data. And obviously, at times when you know what fields needs to be collected and that needs to be analyzed in a seamless manner without giving much effort into upskilling yourself in learning Google Sheets and app scripts, other cron jobs, etc., to work on it. It makes sense for the organizations to go and have a custom app or use a dedicated app for data collection, etc. Fine. So this is
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, could you please do slideshow mode while you walk us through?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sushruti. Okay. So in our experiences and observations with the NGOs, we have found that in their journey from the inception, when they were found to, if they are operating at scale, that scale can be subjective as per the organization, whether working with more number of beneficiaries, more number of districts, locations, geographies, different programs, It can be impact even at a qualitative level in a single person's life. So that operations I'm leaving at you, but in from that inception to operation, we have seen that when they start, obviously there is a natural inclination in using some tool, some process, because there is a lot of collection of data and there's data needs to be managed. For that management, there has to be a process, plus at a point of time there is a need of a tool, of something that could capture that particular data and give us the insights on an autopilot mode. So tendency is to natural incline towards Google Sheets, Google Forms, because of its nature, as it's free, flexible, and we are familiar with that. Obviously also it's easy to collaborate on. Later when we gradually grow, we tend to shift towards using chatbots for specific interactions, communications, reminders, nudges, etc., to our beneficiaries, to help them engage with the program more and be reminded of any updates. We, as you say, as you have already mentioned, you are also using various survey tools to get the baseline data, get the midline data, get the end line data, and because you might be using that for creating your impact report, annual report, to be shared with CSRs, or maybe use it to publish on your websites, or for your writing grant proposals and funding, etc. Then when you scale in number of people and when you want to reach out to more funders, you have multiple other partners in the ecosystem, you tend to opt for a CRM. It could be Zoho, any other. There could be multiple custom apps. When you have that particular fund to invest into building a custom app for your organization, you go for the same. So all these things are happening. So at different stages, we are using different tools, and this is not very restricted. This is upon our own experience. This can be anywhere in the spectrum. So when we do that, it becomes to an extent difficult that there are so many tools currently, and also we are planning to get more tools in future for finance tracking, maybe for managing the payroll, etc., of the current internal team, and maybe people who have been hired on a contract level to do the outreach. So how to manage all of that? So then we at Dalgo have built in a platform which is very NGO centric and currently help you to collect data from all those sources. Those sources can be any and many, and from those sources currently we have built for 300 plus data connectors for connecting with different tools like Comcare, Kobo, which you were talking about, Survey, CTO, Google Sheet, Avni, Glyphic, etc., and then use that particular data to help create models and tables that would be used for analyzation. So data can be from anywhere. We have connected it, we have pulled it, we have kept in our warehouse, and then we have transformed it into different models so that that can be analyzed and then visualized. Currently, we offer Superset because it's also open source, and we work with Superset uh, as it's familiar to us, also open source, free, to get those KPIs from the data we had collected at different sources and to get that visualized into the dashboard. So till here I'll just recap in Hindi as well. So हम लोग को क्या face हो रहा है इसमें? There are certain challenges which we were facing while dealing with sheets, Google form, etc., even though we were doing some validation, automation, using triggers, using app scripts, etc. Then as we have seen कि लोगों ने अलग अलग टूल्स यूज करना शुरू कर दी हैं डेटा कलेक्शन के लिए, जिसमें सर्वे सीटीओ अभी हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स में सबसे ज़्यादा यूज हो रहा है. हमारे पास कोबो, कॉमकेयर, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, हमारे पास अलग अलग टूल्स हैं जहाँ पे हम डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. और हमने देखा कि हमारी पूरी जर्नी में, जो एनजीओ की पूरी जर्नी होती है, जब से वो बनता है और जब वो ऑपरेट करता है एक एट अ वेरी हाई स्केल, वो स्केल हम लोग एनजीओ अपने आप से डिसाइड कर सकते हैं कि वो ज़्यादा लोगों के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, ज़्यादा पार्टनर्स के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, ज़्यादा प्रोग्राम्स में काम कर रहे हैं, या फिर वो ज़्यादा अलग अलग लोकेशंस में काम कर रहे हैं. हर अपनी एक जर्नी में उनको डेटा कहीं ना कहीं से तो आ रहा होता है, जो उनको यूज करना पड़ता है अपने रिपोर्ट्स के लिए, फंडिंग के लिए, ग्रांट प्रपोजल्स लिखने के लिए, अपने इम्पैक्ट मैट्रिक्स को जस्टिफाई करने के लिए, जानने के लिए कि प्रोग्राम में क्या चल रहा है, किस किस पीरियड ऑफ टाइम पे वहाँ पे हम लोग क्या इंटरवेंशन कर सकते हैं, क्या ऐसी चीज़ कर सकते हैं कि हम प्रोग्राम को बेहतर कर पाएँ। तो वो सारा चीज़ें हमें जानने समझने के लिए डेटा चाहिए होता है, और डेटा को कहीं न कहीं पे एक टूल की ज़रूरत होती है ताकि ये सारा ऑटो पायलट मोड पे मैनेज होने लग जाए। तब हम लोग नेचुरली क्या करते हैं, गूगल शीट या गूगल फॉर्म को यूज़ करना शुरू कर देते हैं, क्योंकि हमें वो पता है कि एक फ़ैमिलियरिटी है हमारी, हम लोग शुरू से उसको यूज़ करते आ रहे हैं अपने डे टू डे लाइफ़ में, और प्लस एक्सेल के साथ हमारी एक फ़ैमिलियरिटी थी। गूगल शीट हमें एक वो और प्लस ऐड ऑन देता है कि हम कोलैबोरेट कर पाते हैं, उसपे हम लोग स्क्रिप्ट्स कर पाते हैं, और हमारे लिए वो फ्री है, फ्लेक्सिबल भी है। बट उसमें भी हमने जैसे पिछला एक हाफ सेशन में देखा कि चैलेंजेस आने लग जाते हैं और वो मैनेज करना मुश्किल हो जाता है। तो वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी कहीं न कहीं हमारे लिए जो एक टाइम पे एक एक आई वुड से इट वाज़ अ ब्लेसिंग, वो एक श्राप बन जाती है। तो कहीं न कहीं टू एन एक्सटेंट, नॉट अदरवाइज़ यू हैव टू कीप ऑन अपस्किलिंग। इफ इट्स योर कोर जॉब, देन ऑब्वियसली इट्स अ फैंटास्टिक to go ahead and go with that. But if your core job is to monitor the program, part of a team where you have to track, evaluate, etc., then this could take a lot of your time. तब क्या कर सकते हो आप? तब हम लोग कुछ ऐसा सोचते हैं कि हम लोग कुछ कस्टम ऐप बनवा लेते हैं, ताकि हमारी फील्ड्स हमें पता है कि क्या कैप्चर करनी है। बट उसमें भी हमें चैलेंजेस आते हैं जब हम अलग अलग वेंडर से कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे होते हैं, तो वहाँ पे हमको टाइम और जिस भी मेंबर जो कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहा होता है, अगर वो टीम से छोड़ के चला जाता है, तो फिर वहाँ पे चैलेंजेस आ जाते हैं। फिर हम लोग अलग अलग टूल्स को यूज़ करने लग जाते हैं जो कि फ्रीली या ओपन सोर्स अवेलेबल हैं। बट फिर उन सब जगह डेटा तो कलेक्ट हो रहा होता है, बट हमें ये समझ नहीं आता कि उन सब डेटा का हम यूज़ करके अपने लिए निकालें क्या, और निकाल के फिर हम उसको बार बार अपडेट कैसे करें, और वो अपडेशन हमारा इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ एनीवन्स नॉलेज और एनीवन्स एक्सपर्टीज, एक्सपीरियंस, वो सारा चीज़ें रहे, और स्टैंडर्डाइज तरीके से वो अपने आप ऑटो पायलट या शेड्यूल होता रहे। तब हमने डैल्गो पे एक चीज़, एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया जहाँ पे हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि आपके डेटा सोर्सेस कुछ भी हो सकते हैं। हमने 300 से ज़्यादा कनेक्टर्स बनाए उन सारे डेटा को कलेक्ट करने के लिए, जिसमें कॉमकेयर, कोबो, शीट, अवनी, एटसेट्रा हैं, और उन सारे डेटा को हम लोग एक जगह पे लाते हैं, हम लोग सेव करते हैं हमारे वेयर हाउस पे। वो आपका भी वेयर हाउस हो सकता है, हमारा भी, हम भी उसको होस्ट कर सकते हैं, और उसके बाद उस डेटा पे हम लोग काम करके कुछ मॉडल्स क्रिएट करते हैं, जिसको हम यूज़ करके एनालिसिस करते हैं, और हम उसको विजुअलाइजेशन किसी भी टूल पे कर सकते हैं, लूकर स्टूडियो पे, टैबलू पे, पावर बीआई पे, सुपरसेट पे। बट हम सुपरसेट पे उसको, अगर हमसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कहती है तो बना के हम सुपरसेट पे उसको देते हैं। अदरवाइज दैट कैन एनी विजुअलाइजेशन टूल कैन आल्सो बी इंटीग्रेटेड इनटू इट। Quickly, I'll take you through how that looks like. So this is our platform. I'll not go much into detail, but take you through this pipeline overview thing. So pipeline हमारा एक basically data की pipeline है, आने से लेकर दिखाने तक। So it is from the source to the destination, कैसे वो हमारा डेटा इसमें आता है और कैसे हमारा डेटा इसमें ट्रांसफॉर्म होता है, मॉडल्स बनते हैं, और हमें कैसे वो विजुअलाइज होने को मिलता है। तो फर्स्ट, सबसे पहले हम लोग को अपना वेयर हाउस सेट करना पड़ता है। दिस इज मोर लाइक हमारे पास एक अपनी खुद की एक जगह हो सकती है, या फिर हम वो जगह किसी और से भी होस्ट करवा सकते हैं, जहाँ पे हमारा डेटा इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ शीट्स यहाँ से कॉपी होके पड़ जाएगा। इट विल बी केप्ट हियर independent of the data sources where we are collecting the data, so that we are working on the backup of that particular data, and anything goes wrong, we have still the instances, audits, logs, etc. to retrace and roll back. जब हमारा वेयर हाउस सेट हो जाता है, तो ये एक तरह से हमारी डेस्टिनेशन है, ठीक है, कि हमारा डेटा कहाँ जा रहा है। अब डेटा आ कहाँ से रहा है? डेटा हमारा आ रहा है फ्रॉम वेरियस सोर्सेज। जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, हमने 300 से ज़्यादा, हम कुछ भी नाम रख सकते हैं, सपोज प्रियेश, कनेक्ट, एंड दैट कैन बी एनी। तो अभी हम शीट्स यूज़ कर रहे हैं, तो हम लोग जब शीट्स टाइप करेंगे तो हमें मिल जाएगा कि वो हमें कनेक्ट करना है, और जैसे हम उस पर क्लिक करेंगे तो उसके साथ साथ देयर विल बी अदर फील्ड्स आल्सो ओपन अप, जहाँ पे हम लोग कनेक्शन करने के लिए एक्चुअली ये फील्ड्स की ज़रूरत होती है, ताकि हम लोग उस कनेक्शन को बिठा पाएँ, वो शीट कौन सी थी जहाँ डेटा आ रहा था, और ये डायल्गो में कैसे जुड़ रही है। सो आफ्टर दैट कनेक्शन हैपेंस, we save the changes and we get the connection as we are seeing over here. It can be Kobo, it can be Priyesh, it can be Survey CTO, it can be similarly the fields will open up जितनी भी हैं, it can be Zoho, Salesforce, etc. तो जितना भी डेटा टूल्स, मोस्टली जितने भी हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस यूज़ कर रहे हैं इंडस्ट्री में, हमने ऑलमोस्ट सबके साथ कुछ कनेक्शन बना के रखा हुआ है। व्हेन वी establish that source, establish that particular destination, then we built a connection. और connection build करने के बाद हमें उसमें ये हो जाता है कि जब जब वहां पे हमारा डेटा अपडेट होता है और हम यहाँ पे सिंक बटन को दबाते हैं, देन वी आर एबल टू सी दैट द अपडेशन हैज हैपेंड ओवर द डेस्टिनेशन. तो ये एक कनेक्शन है बिटवीन द सोर्स एंड द डेस्टिनेशन. नाउ व्हेन वी कम टू द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, it is a interface we have created, a low code no code interface, easy for people to work on this particular interface who are not very tech savvy. तो यहाँ पे हम लोग ने अगर जो भी डेटा सोर्स बनाए हैं उसके टेबल्स हमें यहाँ पॉपुलेट हो जाते हैं. इसके अलावा एक और अल्टरनेट मेथड है, पीपल हु आर टेक सेवी कैन आल्सो यूज एसक्यूएल एंड डीबीटी टू राइट द टेबल्स एंड गेट द क्वेरीज aligned, but here we are dealing with UI40, so it is UI is for transformation. So you can search for your schema over here. Yeah, so okay, just a second, it's got stuck. Okay. So I'll just, before taking you through this, I'll just show you the data set. So it is the same data set. So this is the two sheets, June 1, June 2. So the sheet comprises of the details of the competencies. So different C's stand for different competency, which has been facilitated by different facilitators whose ID has been given over here, and into different cities, and every city has a different respective ward. तो और उस वार्ड में उस पर्टिकुलर कॉम्पिटेंसी में ऑन एन एवरेज स्टूडेंट्स जो थे उनके कितना उसका स्कोर रहा. Similarly, we have another sheet where we are capturing the details of the facilitators, कि उनकी एज क्या है, उनका एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड क्या है और वो किस पे बैंड में आते हैं. Now working on these two sheets, when these were ingested, it is similar to what we have shown in the Excel sheet. We could get this schema in our staging, this one, June 1 and June 2. When we click on that, we are able to, yeah, okay. So when we click on the particular table which we have just seen on the Google sheet, we could preview and see. हम देख सकते हैं कि कैसे हमको सारे जितने भी रोज और कॉलम्स थे वो हमारे पॉपुलेट हो गए और हमको यहाँ पे एक साथ प्रीव्यू करने को मिल जाता है. तो हमें पता लग जाता है कि ठीक है, हमारा डेटा यहाँ पे आ रहा है. तो दोनों शीट्स का हमें डेटा यहाँ पे हमें मिल रहा है. अब इसके बाद हम कुछ इसमें ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करेंगे ताकि बाद में हम इसको यूज कर पाए अपने डैशबोर्ड के लिए, एनालिसिस के लिए. तो जैसे हम इस पर क्लिक करते हैं, एक राइट साइड में आपने मेन्यू देख रहे हैं विच इज नोन एज फंक्शंस. तो ये ओपन अप हो जाता है, विच इज हैविंग अ सेट ऑफ फंक्शंस विच कैन बी परफॉर्म डायरेक्टली ऑन इट. सो if I click on join, if I'm joining these two particular tables, it will ask me कि कौन से कॉलम पे ज्वाइन करना है. तो हमें पता है कि हमने यहाँ पे फैसिलिटेटर आईडी, एक यूनिक आईडी बनाई है. तो उस आईडी के, उस यूनिक आईडी के बेसिस पे हम इसको ज्वाइन करने वाले हैं. तो हमने कॉलम का नाम डाला, हमने सेकंड टेबल का नाम डाला, हमने सेकंड कॉलम में भी उसी, एंड वी हैव टू एंश्योर दैट दीज नेम्स आर सेम. Selecting the join type, it would be an inner join, and similarly and so forth. Once you do that, you save it and then you are able to create a table out of it. तो आप टेबल का एक नाम रखोगे and then you will see something like this which I have created. It is more like S2I, sheets to insights, and when you click on this, you will preview कि ये दोनों को जोड़ के आपने देखा होगा कि एज, एजुकेशन, फैसिलिटेटर आईडी पे ये हमारा उस शीट के साथ जुड़ गया है, ये ज्वाइन हो गया टेबल. अब हम इसमें अगर कोई परफॉर्म करना चाहते हैं फंक्शंस तो हम कर सकते हैं. सिमिलरली मैंने उसके बाद उसको कास्ट किया है ताकि हमको ये पता चल जाए कि हमको जो स्ट्रिंग हमारी है, स्ट्रिंग में स्ट्रिंग टाइप है, उसको हम इंटीजर में कन्वर्ट कर सकें, क्योंकि हमारे पास C1A, C12 जो कॉम्पिटेंसीज के कॉलम्स थे वो स्ट्रिंग में थे, एंड देन वी वांटेड देम टू बी इन इंटीजर फॉर्म. सो वी हैव डन ऑल दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग in the interest of time for the demo purpose. And post that, we have done some arithmetic where we are calculating the average of the competencies. Once we create those tables, then we can use the same, just a second, yeah, this average competency has been created, and this particular कॉलम इन द लास्ट यू कैन सी ये ऐड हो गया जहाँ पे हम लोग वो देख पा रहे हैं सारे पहले कॉम्पिटेंसी को ऐड किया फिर उसने डिवाइड बाय 5 किया क्योंकि 5 कॉलम थे कॉम्पिटेंसीज के एंड वी आर गेटिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर इन्फॉर्मेशन। अभी बीच में कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाता है या हमको देखना होता है तो यहाँ लॉग्स भी मेंशन होते हैं ताकि हम लोग उसमें पता कर पाएं कि हमारे साथ क्या इशू आया। डेटा स्टैटिस्टिक्स ऑल्सो हेल्प यू टू नो कि आपका डेटा टाइप जो आप चेंज कर रहे हो वो क्या है, तो इट गिव्स यू अ क्रॉस रेफरेंसिंग थिंग। once you do that, then coming to the dashboard part of it where we are using currently the superset. So superset में हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं कि once we are here, we have logged in into this, we need to add our data set. अब हमने वहां पे देखा कि हमने डेटा सेट तो क्रिएट किया था क्या। अब यहाँ पे सबसे पहले जो मैंने बताया था कि वी हैव क्रिएटेड ए डेटाबेस कि सारा जा कहाँ रहा है, तो हमारे केस में सारा कहाँ जा रहा है, डायल्गो का एक हमने डेमो वेयर हाउस बनाया है, वो आपका खुद भी होस्ट कर सकते हो, हमने बनाया था, डेस्टिनेशन है ये। उस डेस्टिनेशन में भी अलग अलग रैक्स होती हैं, अलग अलग फोल्डर्स हैं, तो दिस इज कॉल्ड अ स्कीमा ओवर देयर। तो वहाँ पे हमने देखा कि स्टेजिंग this particular we have kept in the intermediate schema and table was average competency, ठीक है। तो when we have loaded this you can see create data, अब ये already created है तो otherwise it would have been enabled and blue, so you can directly see your data set because it's already there and this gets added. अब now you can use it similarly to a like Looker Studio where you putting columns, rows, etc. to get the dashboard. We have created this particular dashboard competency assessment where you could see ki number of cities reached, student reach, total facilitators, average competency, and also you can just click on one of those filters over here where you will get to know कि कितने किस सेमेस्टर की हम बात कर रहे हैं। if semester 1 में कितनी competency थी and which city has performed better in semester 1 or which city has performed better in semester 2. This is a student distribution across the cities. So all these filters can be created and we will be able to analyze the same. Now what is happening is when you are able to do all of this, then obviously if any change happens, then you need to refresh the schema in Dalgo. Once you do that, you will be able to see the updated values in the sheet, and all this can be then ऑर्केस्ट्रेटेड इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि ये शेड्यूल करा जा सकता है। हमने जितने भी इस पे फंक्शंस किए, मैंने आपको दिखाया, ज्वाइन किया, कास्ट किया, अरिथमेटिक ऑपरेशंस किए, पिवट कर सकते हैं, कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, तो हम लोग सिमिलरली इस पाइपलाइन को ऑटो मोड में डाल सकते हैं। तो यहाँ पे हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि कैसे हम लोग उसको शेड्यूल कर सकते हैं अपने हिसाब से, डेली, वीकली, मैन्युअली, एंड उस टाइम पे जाके ये डेटा का कनेक्शन जो हमने बनाया था ये हमेशा रन होगा, डेटा सोर्स से जितना भी अपडेटेड डेटा है वो उठाएगा, उस पर वो सारे एक्शंस करेगा और एक्शंस करके देन इट विल गो एंड help you to update the dashboards. So yeah, so this is Dalgo, and then coming to the pricing part of it, currently anything you would like to understand until here. I tried my best to be in both the languages, but please feel free if you want to ask anything or would want me to reshare anything or would want to happy to go, and then maybe we can go ahead.
Priyesh, one question we have from Bhagwat is if these tools are chargeable. So maybe we could proceed and then take questions.
Okay, fine. Okay, Bhagwat, thank you for the question. So basically what pricing model do we have for this is, at a base plan, we have our SaaS platform Dalgo, which is around 2 lakh rupees on an annual basis approximately, and monthly it would be around 17,000 rupees. We have all the models, monthly, quarterly, half yearly and yearly. When we take only the SaaS platform, it is this much. When we take that with superset, then another 50,000 rupees gets added to it. The superset, if you are able to plug in yourself, it's free. But if you want us to help you in understanding the KPIs, get those KPIs, understand your data, what needs to be visualized in what type of chart, etc., etc., then that is the cost. For this also, we have our consulting charges, which is around 2,500 rupees per hour. So, and these are charged purely on the actual basis, and there's no hidden thing in this particular aspect. No matter what, even if you scale in terms of n number of users, even if you scale in n number of records, unlike like after 50,000 records, Google Sheets and AppScripts have shown failures, etc. But even if you scale in Dalgo, that would be handled properly and there will be a fixed cost. There would be no surprise cost as such. So it helps you to basically get particular ahead of this particular aspect where you are able to take some hours of consulting and help you set up once, and then it is a one click pipeline where you that gets updated and you are able to see your dashboard, which reduces your time by 20-30 hours weekly. So it has been seen that there has been a staff and people who are working in M&E program, etc., a burnout when they had to deal with data crunching to an extent when it becomes an additional job of cleaning, formatting, organizing, uh, pulling in the KPIs, making sense of it, and then getting it into a dashboard and telling the reports. But Dalgo, the value addition of Dalgo is that it will help you to basically uh, build those pipelines, and on a click you will be able to get that particular insight from your data, all your data sources, even if you scale to multiple data sources to the dashboard. There are no surprise costs, no hidden cost. Set it once, let it run as it says. We have been working relentlessly with multiple NGOs and I have been talking and experiencing their use cases from a long time. And this particular platform now and Dalgo 2.0, which is coming, which would be having recommendations over the dashboard and these alerts, notifications, critical events that needs to be monitored in the program and where the actions needs to be happen. So all those are part of our Dalgo, which would help our NGOs get timely insights, accurate insights, and report better. So Dalgo's value addition comes also as a proactive support which we give to the NGOs. We keep on innovating with their use cases, and it's a very NGO centric platform which we have built with our team's expertise in working in social sector to help you get a proactive and responsive support and help you scale without thinking of numbers and think more of impact and your own core particular jobs. These are some of the resources which when I'll share the slide, these resources will be a part of those follow-up email, and you can go through them at your own pace to know more about working on the sheets and various BI tools to get integrated with those sheets. Okay, thank you so much. I would request Stuti to launch the feedback poll and also open this house for asking questions now.
Yeah,
And
sure.
thirdly, yeah, yes, Stuti.
Sorry, please continue, Priyesh.
Yeah. So just a small thing. I would also request if anyone would have um, want to unmute and share anything, please feel free to do so. Also, you can scan this particular QR code to book a call with us. It is no pressure, pure discussion, pure conversation call to know deep because this has been a diverse group, and I could sit in given more time with you to have in-depth discussion about your specific use case, current setup, challenges you are facing, and how we could be a better fitment to it. It is not any like follow up to something, but it would be just we would be able to learn more because we are sure we are obviously knowing less about your own use cases setup and how you are functioning. So that discovery call would really help us know more, and maybe we could improve our own systems and platforms and products, and obviously the solutions we are building. So I would please urge and request if you could scan and book a call uh, just to have a pure coffee discussion. Yeah, Stuti, sorry. Yeah, we can continue.
Thanks, Priyesh. We have also dropped the link for the call in the chat box. And we do have a couple of questions, Priyesh.
Mhm.
one of them is from Bhagwat. He has a couple of questions about the pricing as well as superset. Bhagwat, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask directly.
Yeah, Bhagwat, please. Uh,
Okay, let me
Stuti, I'm not able to hear Bhagwat.
yeah, let me just voice his question. His first question is, are these tools chargeable? You also wanted to see the superset dashboard. Maybe we could follow up with that on him, follow up on that later.
Oh,
Also, whether we can provide the tools for demo free of cost for 1 month.
okay. We do have trial versions. I would request Abhishek to take this question if possible, if Abhishek is there. If not, then I can take, because I'm not able to see the participant list currently.
Thanks, Priyesh. Hi, Bhagwat. Hi, everyone. Happy to give you a demo of the platform, Bhagwat, give you access to a trial account. We generally do this for 2 weeks, and we generally, as a first step, scope out what it is you want to do, right? So that then in those 2 weeks, you can quickly get from point A to insights, right? From disaggregated data to insights easily. So basically what we can do is chat after this, scope out quickly what you want to do, make sure that that's possible for you. And in 2 weeks, both give you access to the platform and second, help you get there, right? So yeah, hope that's helpful. If you have any other questions, happy to take them.
We also have another question from Yashwant, who asks if from a long-term point of view, do we need someone technical from Dalgo to manage the dashboard? Yashwant, if you want to elaborate on the question, you can unmute yourself. Else, Priyesh, would you like to take that question? Or?
Yes, I can. So, Yashwant, thanks for the question. Basically, we would have two modes where you could use Dalgo. One is like the one I had shown, where if you are comfortable using the UI for making those transformations, and if your data is something that is manageable by those transformations, you are good to go. For complex queries where the data requires those queries, either you have the SQL knowledge, Postgres knowledge, it is good. Otherwise, we as consulting provide on a charge basis. We estimate what your current requirements, current setup are, and what would you like to see on as a goal towards your dashboard or your reporting requirements, and making estimate of that on an hour basis, and then that becomes chargeable. Once that is set up, then from next year you are good to go with that particular pipeline by just refreshing it and making a few changes which you can learn after we provide the trainings on the same. Abhishek, would you like to add anything, or is it like?
No, nothing to add.
Yeah.
If anyone else has questions, please feel free to unmute and ask if there's anything even that we didn't cover that you're curious to know about. Feel free to ask or put in the chat box.
You can make a note of my phone number, the website you might be aware of, or you can just make a note of it, and the email ID where you could connect with us. It's partnerships@dalgo.org. And we'll be happy to schedule a call and discuss more on your setup, and that could help you also understand if uh, anything better, not in terms only of the tools, but anything in terms of processes or any other help we would be able to provide or in a position to provide. We will obviously be obliged to do that. So it could be a more of a learning call, uh, from our perspective and your perspective as well.
Yeah, we have one
Uh,
question from Abhijit, uh,
mhm.
which is Dalgo open source?
Yeah.
Cre- uh,
Yes.
yeah. Abhijit, yes, it is open source. I'll share the website link with you where you'll find more details on how the platform works.
So,
Yeah.
Abhijit, we like as a policy and like in our culture also, we would internally also try to use all open source tools for our own working. We build tools which are open source. So that is one of our, uh, you could say, a philosophy, ideology to build those. So yes, it is. In short, it is, yeah, open source. Even our other tools are.
Abhijit from Goonj has a similar question to Bhagwat, which is, can we get a demo account to play around?
Sure, I think Abhishek answered the same. If you want that to be repeated, okay. Otherwise, we can have set up a call. We can discuss on the requirements, and on the basis of that, we can scope it out and share the credentials for the demo account for you to play and work around. Yeah.